howdy do Who fans, and welcome to the Big Blue Box podcast. Welcome to 2019. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And this is episode 215.
One day I shall come back. Yes, I shall come back. Until then, there must be no regrets, no tears, no anxieties. Just go forward in all your beliefs and prove to me that I am not mistaken in mine.
Our lives are different to anybody else's. That's the exciting thing. Nobody in the universe can do what we're doing.
I've reversed the polarity of the neutron flow, so the TARDIS should be free of the force field now.
You may be a doctor, but I'm the doctor. The definite article, you might say.
The trouble with time travel is, one never seems to find the time.
Change, my dear, and it seems not a moment too soon.
Unlimited rice pudding, etc., etc.
I am the Doctor!
For now, for this moment, I am the Doctor again.
The ground beneath our feet is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. And the entire planet is hurtling around the sun at 67,000 miles an hour, and I can feel it. We're falling through space, you and me.
People assume that time is a strict progression of cause to effect, but actually, from a non-linear, non-subjective viewpoint, it's more like a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
I could be a curator. I'd be great at curating. I'd be the great curator.
I could retire and do that.
I'm the Doctor. I've lived for over 2,000 years, and not all of them were good. I've made many mistakes, and it's about time that I did something about that.
Bit of adrenaline, dash of outrage, and a hint of panic knitted my brain back together. I know exactly who I am. I'm the Doctor. Sorting out fair play throughout the universe.
Howdy, howdy do Who fans. Welcome to 2019. 215. We're back. 2 weeks off.
Yeah, 2019.
It feels like we've been away for so much longer than 2 weeks. It just feels like ages.
I know, it really does, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the start of a new year, though. Absolutely love the beginning of a new year. That sort of everything's in front of you feeling.
Yeah,
Instead of getting to the middle of it thinking, oh, half the year's gone. It's like, yeah, a whole year of like new conventions and new events and new releases. And I just love it.
It's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I hope all of our listeners have had a good Crimbo and a good new year. And more importantly, hope that you've all done something Doctor Who related. Yay. I just imagine loads of our listeners with presents under the tree or gifts being handed over, and they're just in their mind thinking, oh, so I want that bit of that Doctor Who 7th Doctor tank top. Or that Matt Smith blazer or something, come on.
Yeah.
Or
the Jodie scarf. A lot of people wanted the Jodie scarf, didn't they, this year, the Christmas scarf.
Yeah, that went nuts, didn't it?
It did. I think Paul Smith must have been delighted that the BBC chose that. Bet they were like, because I think it was like last year's design or something. I bet they were like on the phone to the production, office. Get that scarf back in circulation. Make a load more. But it's cancelled. No, get it back.
Somebody tweeted me or messaged me. Oh, sorry. I was talking to one of our writers, Maria, and she wanted one, but she can. I think the cheapest she found it was on eBay for like £160 or something like that.
I know, it's mad, wasn't it? I went to, there's a place not a million miles from me called Bicester Village, and they sell, it's like a designer outlet.
Oh yeah, Bicester.
And they sell sort of last year's stuff, at discounted prices. It's all designer stuff. And I went and had a look at the Paul Smith shop there, and they had one that was almost identical. And he said to me, the guy in the shop, he's like, oh yeah, you want that Doctor Who scarf? I said, yes. He said, yeah, we were supposed to get it because it was last year's design. He said, and then we got a phone call saying, no, we won't be getting them. Obviously, because they're probably going to put them all back online. He said, but we've got this one. He said, it's almost exactly the same, except that the little stripe at the edge is green instead of pink. And I was like, apart from that, it's the same. He's like, yeah. And he said, and it's £29 instead of 80.
Wow.
And I was like, you know what? that's a Christmas present from my mum and dad. So I bought it and phoned my mum and said, oh, by the way, you've just bought me a scarf for Christmas. She's like, my mum's like, oh, we always buy you a scarf. I said, yeah, but this is a Doctor Who scarf. So I got one. It's not screen accurate, but you know what? For the sake of a coloured stripe, I ain't bothered. I really like it, actually. It's not just the fact it's the scarf. It's a really nice scarf, actually.
Who knew,
Who knew? So if anyone's near Bicester Village, I tell you, I never go there as well because it's a bit of a train journey out, but also it's always packed there. It's my idea of hell, actually, because it's just full of people and you can't move, and it's all these designer shops that I can never afford anything in. So it was a bit of a sort of I think it's the first time I've ever gone there and bought something.
Okay, yeah.
Because I can never afford it, even though they're discounted. There's still really expensive stuff there.
We went there a few weeks before Christmas.
Did you?
And I can confirm what you're saying. It's incredibly busy all the time.
Oh yeah. I have to be dragged there, but as I said, I never go anyway. But yeah.
So you bagged a scarf though.
So I bagged the scarf. Yeah, bagged the scarf. Yeah, I've only worn it once because it's like the mildest Christmas
it's weird,
ever.
Isn't it? Yeah.
This is not. Yeah, it did not feel like Christmas because it's so mild in the UK at the minute. I mean, it's going to come, isn't it? We're going to. I don't know. February's probably going to be sleet and hail and snow because we've just had it so mild recently.
Yeah, it's
so
strange,
I haven't actually worn it.
We never get a white Christmas. I think I can count on one hand the amount of times that it snowed or has been snowing on Christmas Day since I've been born. But we normally get it afterwards, don't we? January, February time.
Yeah. I can't remember the last time it snowed, to be honest. I remember we must have had it since we moved here because I remember my partner made a snow Dalek, which I was very impressed by. I came down in the morning and it was just there. And I was like, oh, that's pretty good. So we must have had snow, but it wouldn't have been Christmas time. Yeah.
No, boring really.
Yeah, you've got to make a snow Dalek though if we get snow, and you've got to do a Dalek. Or if you're really adventurous, maybe a snow TARDIS.
Well, yeah, because if you base it on the Dalek from Resolution, you can save yourself a bit of snow in the top half. As long as you get the bottom half done.
That's right. Yeah.
Got the old Weight Watchers top half.
Weight Watchers Dalek. That's what I'm going to call it now. The Weight Watchers Dalek. Yeah. Brilliant.
So you've been away on travels, mate, haven't you, over Crimbo? I assume you haven't done anything Who related.
No, nothing. No, I've been. I went. I went to Malta for a week. I literally have just got back actually, and I was in a hotel in London on the 1st of Jan. So I made sure I got there in time to watch Doctor Who because I wanted to watch it live. You know, it's a bit of a sort of a special thing, a New Year's Day special, first New Year's Day special we've had. And I just thought, I must watch it live. So I made sure I got to the hotel the night before I flew so I could watch it. And so I did get to see it live. And obviously I'll talk about my thoughts on it when we get to review. But there was one moment when the TV cut out as well, about 10 minutes in. So I'd made sure I got there about 6:30 at the hotel. I was like, yeah, good. Got half an hour, threw my stuff on the bed, chilled out, TV on. Here we go. Turn the volume up. Screw the people next door. Let's get it up loud. And yeah, about 10 minutes in, it just cut off. It come up on the screen, no signal. And I was like, no signal. And just as I was about to go mad, it come back on. But then for the rest of the episode, I kept thinking, kept waiting for it to cut off again. But it didn't. It only did it the once. So must have been a glitch.
A glitch, yeah.
Cybermat in the system. Yeah. So yeah, I did get to see it live. But I haven't really done anything else. The only thing I can think to really sort of talk about is that while I was away, I didn't have much internet access, but one of our good friends, Morgan, did message me and say, oh, the Legopolis BFI event has been announced, which is what I've been waiting for because obviously with the season 18 box set coming out in Feb, we thought there'd be a BFI event because they normally do. And I was really hoping the episode they were going to show, if they did one, would be Legopolis because it's one of the first stories I ever remember seeing as a kid. I think the Melk is my first ever memory of Doctor Who, but I have sort of really sketchy memories of the like the cloister room, like those walls and the TARDIS inside it and stuff. I can remember that as a kid, which is amazing because I would have been incredibly young. But so it's quite a special story for me. Cool. And the thought of seeing it on the big screen. So yeah, Morgan's message and said, oh, it is Legopolis, and tickets are going on sale. I think next week or the week after, and I think it's February, the actual event, so it's quite soon. And I'm thrilled. I actually can't wait. So that's the first sort of thing of the new year for me to get excited about, if you like, is we've already got a BFI event coming up, and I assume you'll be going.
Of course, mate. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So absolutely can't wait for that. Really, really excited. I must check when the tickets go on sale, because I expect the 15th, is it? Yeah. I mustn't miss out on that, because really looking forward to it. But I'm afraid I haven't been able to watch any Doctor Who stuff. I literally got back yesterday, and I've just been doing loads of washing, and I just haven't had a chance to really do anything else Doctor Who related. What about you?
No, not a great deal, mate. I've gone through some of the season 18 and season 19 box sets. I've picked out a few episodes and watched a few of the special features. That's about it, mate. I haven't really gone into much Doctor Who otherwise. It was good to see our competition winners get their season 19 box sets. That was good.
I love, thanks for posting pictures. I love it when, if someone wins something from us, when they post a picture saying it's arrived and stuff. So I was really pleased. I did get to see that while I was away, and that was great to see that the box sets arrived, and I hope you guys are enjoying them.
Yeah, hopefully. They're rather good.
They are good, stacked with special features, isn't it? I mean, I'm still only about halfway through season 19, and I've watched quite a lot as well. But they are great sets. I can't wait for season 18.
They're awesome.
I'm actually so excited for that. Yeah.
And also, I've just been putting the finishing touches to. We've got a new coat of paint over on the website at the minute. So.
Oh yeah, I must go and have a look.
Yeah. So hello there.
Is that gone live now? Is it live?
It should be, as you're listening to this.
Right.
Listeners.
Let's have a butchers.
Go and have a lookie.
Yeah.
So that's good. So we have, alongside the podcast that goes out, we also have a bunch of really cool articles. We've got a super team of writers that put out really cool content every week. So go and check out the website. It's very cool.
I'm looking at it now. Very nice. Very nice work, mate. Yeah. Oh, it's got my ugly mug on there. Good.
Always.
Nice little link to the Geeks handbag on there. Excellent. Very nice. I agree with you about the articles as well. Anyone who hasn't head over to the website. The guys who do our little articles every couple of weeks and stuff. It's really good stuff over there. Reviews of Big Finish and the comics and events and stuff. Yeah, go and check it out.
Go and check it.
Yeah.
After that, mate, I've been really quiet. Just having a real lazy Christmas and New Year, pretty much.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, one thing I did do while I was in the airport, I've had my finger hovering over the cancel button of the Series 11 Steelbook, the Amazon exclusive, right? So although my feelings of Series 11 were mixed, I still wanted the Steelbook because I love a Steelbook. It's Doctor Who and I'm, bit of a completist. So I thought, I'll leave it on pre-order. It might come down in price. Anyway, I've been hovering over the cancel because it's $48.99.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, I kept sitting there thinking, that's nearly 50 quid. And, I was thinking about the other stuff I want to buy this year. Like there's some great stuff coming out for Big Finish this year, like the Celebration box set with all the Doctors and stuff. And I was thinking that's 35. And in the end, I was sat in the airport, and I don't know if it's because the plane was delayed by an hour, and I was just thinking, what can I do? And I was looking at it, I thought, I'm going to cancel that blooming Steelbook, because I just thought, I can't justify 50 quid for it.
Yeah.
I just can't. For a start, the artwork is pretty bland. I only really liked half of the episodes, and it's 50 blooming quid. I've cancelled it, and I don't know. It sort of pained me a little bit, because as I said, the completist in me really wanted it, but yeah, maybe if it comes down, I might order it, but no, I'm not paying that. I decided. Part of me feels good about it as well, because you know what my self-restraint is like, but part of me feels quite good for not just throwing 50 quid at Amazon. I assume I don't think you never considered it, did you? You're not interested in that?
No, not at all, really. No, I'm going to pick up the regular box set.
Well, the regular box set looks really nice. I guess they've done a great job with the packaging on that. And it's, I think it's about 38 quid, is it, for the Blu-ray? So it's a bit cheaper. And
yes, I haven't pre-ordered it.
No, nor have I. No.
Yeah, but it does look nicer, I think, the design and stuff. It's got that, quite colourful and bright. Some of the artwork really that we saw when it was announced, yeah. But no, I haven't pre-ordered. I'm just going to wait till later on in a year when it's, 20 quid or something. I'll pick it up then. But yeah, I'm not too fussed now. But that Steelbook, though, that's nearly 50 quid. I can't. Well, I assumed it was going to come down quite a bit. To put it into perspective, I've got I have pre-ordered something, which is as you know, I'm a Red Dwarf fan, and they've released or about to release series 1 to 8 remastered on Blu-ray, which I've pre-ordered, and that's $39.99, and you get 19 discs with that.
Yeah, well, that's more like it.
So I feel like that is, value for money. For 40 quid, you're getting, 8 series and a ton of extra features. But Doctor Who, you're getting 4 discs, and just 10 episodes for nearly 50 quid. So, yeah, I can't see the value in, unless they at last minute drop it down. I don't know, but.
It's in my wish list. I'll keep an eye on it. But the other thing was the extras on it are pretty poor. There's no deleted scenes. I mean, I would have thought that was a given. We had that monster there was photos of that monster from It Takes You Away, wasn't there? Which never appeared in it. So I was thinking, I look forward to seeing the deleted scene of that. There's no deleted scenes on it. So yeah, I just can't justify the dollar, I'm afraid.
No, I read you, mate. And also it's quite telling, isn't it, that most of the other steelbooks that go on sale on Amazon, they sell out relatively quick. Whereas this one, it's still,
well, that is the other thing. It is the one thing that worried me as well, because season 9, which we both weren't a massive fan of, I did get the steelbook of that. It was nowhere near this price, but it has become incredibly rare.
Yeah,
and it sells for really silly money. And I was thinking, I'd hate that to happen to it. But then again, I don't think I'll be as disappointed if this sells out and I don't get it, because the artwork's not that great. I don't think I'll be that bothered. Like with Series 9, although the series was a bit mixed, the steelbook looked lovely. It had, was it Alex Zhang? Or I can't remember who did the artwork.
Yeah, it was awesome, wasn't it?
It looked really nice. So it was, kind of justified the price, although it was still not as expensive as this. And also, it doesn't include resolution. They're doing that as a standard release, which is... It's sorry, insane. It's just a major cash cow. I mean, there's no excuse for that. And that's nearly 17 quid. So I'm just sort of thinking that's nearly 70 quid if you want to own. I mean, that, if you're calling complete series 11 without resolution, it's not really, is it?
No, because it's part of the same.
Well, it tied up all the little bits, and so I think it's a bit cheeky, cheeky from the BBC. That.
Yes, I have pre-ordered the Macra Terror steelbook though.
Yes, so have I. Yeah.
So that's reasonably priced at $24.99. I don't mind paying that for a steelbook. That's pretty good.
No, I was going to say that's about where I would go price-wise for a steelbook. I think that's about right. Yeah. Anything edging towards 30, I think is too much.
Yes.
Yeah.
Indeed. Anyways, we have got some New Year's news.
New Year's news.
So let's do that.
Okay.
Oh, it's another one of those bad news.
Oh, I know.
To kick off, especially kick off a new year as well. So we have to say goodbye to a couple of people. The first one being June Whitfield.
Yeah.
Which is sad, because June's been, in terms of British TV and comedy and stuff over the years, she's been a staple really of, you can trace June's career back to, crikey, long time ago. Back in the 50s, I think, 40s or 50s, she started her career. She's been in just loads of early Carry On films, and she was in Ab Fab, wasn't she, for a while?
That's right.
All of it. Was she in all of it?
Yeah.
She was really funny in that.
She's great. Plays Adina's mum. Yeah, she was brilliant in that. Yeah.
She's been in a ton of other things.
Terry and June. Remember Terry and June?
Obviously.
That's from our era, isn't it? Terry and June.
Just before my era.
Oh, okay.
But I do remember my mum watching it all the time.
I can remember it. Yeah.
Yes, and but for Who fans though, she was the cheeky little Minnie Hopper.
Minnie, that's it. I was thinking it was Molly. Minnie, that's it. Minnie. Yeah.
And she had a nice little grope of Tennant's bum, didn't she?
She did.
In what was it? End of Time, wasn't it? Yeah.
Was it End of Time? Yes, it was. Yeah.
End of Time. Yeah. So but she leaves us at the age of 93. So really sad for June. leaving us. And also we say goodbye to William Shepherd as well. William Shepherd, he played you remember the Impossible Astronaut on Day of the Moon?
Yeah.
You know, there was the FBI agent who was in it for a large portion of time. When they went forward in time to the older version of him, he played Canton Everett.
Yeah.
Yeah, he played the older version, which was really nice. So he says goodbye as well. He leaves us at the age of 86.
86.
But yeah, pretty well known within sci-fi circles. He was involved in a lot of Trek over the years. He was in Next Generation and Voyager.
Oh, was he? All right.
Yeah, as well as Babylon 5. So he was in, quite a bit of sci-fi stuff. So a lot of people would know him from there. But had a reasonably good part in Who, though. It's pretty good.
Babylon 5. I've never seen Babylon 5. Have you?
I've seen a couple of episodes.
Have you?
Didn't really grab. This was years ago. I remember.
It's just one of those shows that the name just pops up quite often, and I don't know whether I don't know if it's really bad or if it's one of those sort of cult. I don't know. I'll have to give it a look sometime.
I think it's quite popular. I thought, well, it was anyway back in the day. But yeah, it didn't really grab me. But there are certainly plenty of Babylon fans out there. But sad news to kick off with. But yeah, we say goodbye to June Whitfield and William Shepherd.
Yeah. In other news, there's a great free comic out from the guys at DWAS, the Doctor Who Appreciation Society. So the latest edition of, I think it's pronounced Cosmic Mask, although it's about mask.
I think so, yeah.
Cosmic Mask. So the latest edition, which is issue 7, is a 90-page full of fiction reviews and interviews and articles, and it's free to download. And these are pretty good. We've looked at a couple of these, haven't we, since they've come out.
Yes, they're very good.
The guys at DWAS always puts a lot of effort into these mags. And as I say, it's free, so go and download it now if you'd like it. Just head over to the Doctor Who Appreciation Society website.
Yep.
Which I think, I don't know.
Yeah, it's just dwasonline.uk.
DWAS, isn't it? Yeah, I was going to say just DWAS. Yeah, just head over there and you can download it from them. And it's really good. I always like the little covers they have as well. They put their nice little spin on the covers, don't they?
Yeah, they're very good. Yeah.
The
guy we're good friends with Rick Moran, who runs this over at the DWAS, and he puts a ton of work into these all the time.
He does.
Yeah, they're absolutely packed full of really cool stuff. So, and it's got a cheeky little crossword at the very end as well. So,
I know I'm so rubbish at crosswords as well.
Yeah,
I wish I was better. I sit there and I think even the easy ones, like on the plane, I had the Sun newspaper, and I was like, of all things, it was the only paper on the plane, and I thought, well, I must be able to do the Sun crossword. It must be. And I was sat there, I couldn't even do the first one. I'm terrible, but I always like to have a look.
Yes. If you
just in case.
Yeah. If you consider yourself a bit of a Who knowledge connoisseur, have a crack at the crossword at the end. But no, it's really cool, and it's free, so you might as well.
Yeah, it's well worth downloading. It really is.
Yes. And last up in the news, some new stuff has been found.
Yeah, this is great.
Or recovered, discovered, whatever word you want to insert there. So I wasn't aware of this at all, but there is a non-profit organisation called Kaleidoscope, and their sole purpose is to locate missing television programmes and soundtracks and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. And they found a whole bunch of really high quality audio tracks and masters and stuff from way back when. So the Daleks master plan.
I know.
So this is incredible that these have been found. Do you know what makes it really cool? Is in 2019 they are still finding
stuff. I know. Yeah, it gives you hope, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, they're still finding really cool original recordings. I mean, it's not the episodes, but Mark Ayres, who we know works with the Radiophonic Workshop, and he's involved in like the remasters when they do these really cool Blu-ray box sets. He's the guy that does all of the
he's brilliant
audio reproduction and remastered and all that stuff. He's obviously delighted. So he's said that these tapes, because sometimes they can be a bit. I think I know of one occasion anyway, a couple of years ago, when they thought they found a load of cool stuff, and it ended up just being, really low quality, old VHS stuff that wasn't working anyway. But Mark Ayres has said that these tapes are the real thing, the real deal, the original off-air recordings. Which
so
when,
I was going to say, which means basically the improvement in quality is quite high compared to what we've had previously, which is good. Yeah,
it's cool. And they range from the Daleks Master Plan right through until the Underwater Menace. So the only bit that's missing is the first half of The Nightmare Begins, which is episode 1 of the Dalek Master Plan.
Yeah.
But other than that, everything is complete. It's just awesome. So it gives you, it's also good. So when they, in the future, we were talking about this a few shows ago. I think we were saying something like these new Blu-ray box sets that they're doing, it's going to look weird on the shelf because they won't be able to do certain series or eras. It does give you hope, though, that if they do decide to go back and do like a Hartnell era 1 or series 1, they've got really good quality assets to work from.
Yeah, that's right. Because whenever they remaster episodes, they use a variety of source material to sort of piece back, the elements that they need. So especially with the, William Hartnell and Patrick Troughton era, because I remember with the War Machines, which is a story I really love, there are tiny fragments of film missing, and what they've done is they've sort of they managed to sort of recreate bits. So they'll sort of flip an image. So if there's a shot of a war machine coming towards someone that's missing, and it may be like 3 seconds long, they'll just flip an image and sort of add some smoke to it and reinsert it, and then they'll use the audio, for example, from one of these to fill in the audio gap and make it all seamlessly work. And it's incredible. So this does make a difference because this will improve the quality of the audio on these stories when they come to release them on Blu-ray. So it is brilliant news. Or audio CDs as well, because they do the spoken word, don't they?
Yeah.
So, from what we understand, these are quite an improvement on the quality that we've previously had. So it is very good news, actually.
Very, very good.
Yeah.
And like you say, it gives us hope that I'm confident there's more stuff out there to be found.
I'm sure there is.
Yeah. One day. One day.
One day.
I was going to do for news. We should probably get our now sober metal friend in to see what he's got for us.
Yeah, get him in.
Merch corner. Merch corner. Merch corner.
I don't know whether to be impressed or disgusted.
It's a bit rubbish, but it's pretty. It's very pretty.
He's looking all right now, but I tell you, mate, 1st of January, he looked like crap.
Did he?
Oh, yeah.
Overdoing it on the oil cocktails
on
again.
The oil and sherry, yeah.
Yeah. Wonder what he made of his little Dalek friend on New Year's Day.
Yeah, let's just say there was some sounds coming from him that I've not heard before. I don't know whether that's a good or a bad thing. I'm not sure.
Yeah, never can tell.
Yeah, I had a very quiet New Year. I was in bed by 10 to 11 or something like that. But let's just say that someone else didn't go to sleep
right
at that time. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
yeah.
He has thrown a few things over. The first one being War Master.
Yes, Derek Jacobi. Great cover. Is this a Lee binding?
Is it like
it's got
binding?
His style, doesn't it? I don't know if it is, but it's a great cover on this.
It's an awesome cover, yeah. Is going to see, the War Master is going to see or bump into the 8th Doctor in an upcoming story. So, Rage of the Time, that sounds so cool. The War Master, Rage of the Time Lords, is coming from Big Finish to our ears in July, I think. Yes, it will land in July. And it will be the normal CD or digital download, whichever you choose to do. It will be 4 stories long. And Sir Derek Jacobi reprises his role as the War Master, and Paul McGann will be back, obviously, as the 8th Doctor. So this incarnation of the Master is very much the Hannibal Lecter of Time Lords.
Cool.
Intelligent, charming, but thoroughly ruthless. We had a lot of fun in the studio bringing the War Master back to life. It's been a great project, and we can't wait for listeners to hear it. Sir Derek was only on screen for 1 TV episode. On returning to the role to audio in 2017, he said, "I didn't expect to come back to it all these years later, but I was thrilled to be remembered. The plots in all these episodes have been very good indeed, very interesting, dramatic, and beautifully written. the whole process has been a delight. So that's good to hear.
Mm.
You know, not just getting paid, but enjoying the work.
Yeah. Well, I can imagine he's the kind of guy, I mean, doesn't probably, you know, he probably doesn't have to take anything he doesn't want to. So I assume he genuinely means that.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
Yes. So you can pre-order this now. You can get it for £20 digital or £23 on CD. When it goes live, when it gets released in July, I think the price goes up to 30 quid and 35 quid for CD or something like that.
That's right. Yeah, that is about right. Yeah.
Yes. But the cover art was indeed Mr. Binding.
Lovely. I don't know how he just manages to just keep making these great covers. They're absolutely superb.
Yeah, very talented.
I'll probably be getting this. I've got the first two, and they're very enjoyable to listen. Although the second one went a bit psychedelic in places, but it's still very good. So yeah, I'll be getting this. So I think that's a great pairing, actually, Jacoby and the Eighth Doctor. I think that should work quite well. I would think, because some of these Big Finish crossovers are getting a bit mad now. If you know what I mean. I'm thinking, I'm not sure about that, but I think that's a good pairing. Do you?
I love this pairing. I think it'd be awesome.
I think that would be very good. Yeah.
Yeah. You can listen to a trailer as well. If you nip over to Big Finish and just do a search for Rage of the Time Lords, there's a nice little trailer to sweeten the appetite.
I just can't keep up with their stuff though, man. They are so much. I was looking at this is one of the reasons I cancelled the Steelbook, because I was looking at how much stuff I want to buy from them this year. There is so much coming out that I want. It's unbelievable. What's this that he's dumped on the floor? A magazine? Oh, my word. Who remembers the Doctor Who Adventures magazine?
Wowzers.
Did you ever buy this? It was aimed at the younger audience of Doctor Who. Did you ever?
No, I never. I'm aware of it. I
I
never bought it, though. No.
You're aware of it, yeah. Because it died a death, unfortunately. It really... No, I don't mean that to sound nasty. I mean, it generally did. The sales just plummeted, so it was cancelled. But they've released a new one-off special with Jodie on the front. It comes with about 1,000 stickers and postcards and all that sort of stuff. And it's got quizzes and posters and puzzles and stuff. And again, it's very much aimed at the younger audience. And I would imagine kids will absolutely love this, actually, if they like Doctor Who. In a way, the sort of the nostalgic side of me is quite pleased to see it come out again. I don't want to see it every week. It just won't last. But it's quite nice to have it come out as a special, just as a one-off or whatever. I mean, unless they're just doing this to test the ground, maybe they'll carry on. But with no series coming out this year, I think it's unlikely. So yeah, so it's out now. It's priced £3.99. It's a 36-page cosmic magazine, it says. And it's got a new fresh look as well. The logo is completely lost on it. How much stuff have they got on that cover? I mean, it's like, isn't it? It's a assault on the eyes, isn't it? It's just they couldn't have fitted anything else on that cover if they tried. I don't think it's jam packed.
It is jam packed. Literally,
it is jam packed. Now I know you won't be picking this up, but some of our listeners might want to grab it.
Yeah, it looks. Yeah, I think if you're a certain age, it will appeal for sure. But
yeah.
I think this goes, when you mentioned the logo there, this goes back to the very early conversations we had when this new logo was first announced.
Yeah.
I remember saying that, it doesn't work for me because if it's not used on a very simple plain background, it will just get lost. And this is a perfect example of that. You can't even
see it. You can see it, but it doesn't. It should have been at the top in great big bold, where they've got all this stuff at the top, 4 postcards, hundreds. It should have been there, shouldn't it, in great big bold letters? But instead, it's like been shoved under. Anyway, it's on there.
It looks like a generic, just sort of kids magazine that just happens to be.
Maybe it's one of the puzzles of spot the logo.
Spot the logo.
Yeah.
Anyways, any of our younger listeners might want to grab this just for the 100 stickers alone.
Yeah,
that
is it 100? Cool. Is it? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can just stick them all over your house and annoy your parents. So is this just a one-off, is it? It's not come back?
No, it's not a return. It's a one-off special. And,
okay.
As I said, I wonder if they're doing it just to test the ground, because Jodie's Doctor, I think, is very much aimed at a younger audience, which is one of the things I find bizarre, actually. I'm not going to go off on a little thing here, but I was thinking this while I was away. Jodie's Doctor is very much aimed at the younger audience, but actually we had some of the most adult stories like that we've ever had, like Rosa and the Punjab episode. I think it's quite bizarre contrast, really, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, but this, I would say, is definitely aimed at a younger audience.
The younglings.
Mm.
Yes. Right, that's it for news and merch.
Yep. Let's get into it. I'm dying to know what you think. I haven't got a clue what you think of this episode.
Resolution from New Year's Day. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
There's an alien on the loose in an archaeological dig.
Doctor, one squid versus 7 billion humans and you. Odds have got to be in our favour, surely.
I always think I'm rid of them. Never am. Trust me, Graham, even if it's just one, it's enough.
Short version, alien psychopath in its own tank, trying to bring those more to Earth.
Humanity bands together, vanquishes you, and buries you for centuries.
Yet I survived.
You are an enemy of the Daleks.
And how are you spelling that?
The Dalek race is supreme!
Resolution of the Daleks. Oh, no, sorry, just Resolution. That would have been a good title, though, wouldn't it? Resolution of the Daleks. I mean, it would have given the game away, obviously.
Yeah, because it wasn't anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exterminate. Yeah.
Old Nick Briggs back in the chair.
Yeah.
So, Resolution. Not out on Christmas Day. New Year's Day. Bit of a change to form that we're all aware of.
Yeah.
Hour long. Written by the Chibbers. Directed by Wayne Yip. And it stars the usual fam with a collection of supporting cast members. And the story is that hundreds of years ago, I think it's hundreds of years ago, or thousands of years even, I can't remember, the human race was engaged in a battle with the Daleks. And they managed to just about defeat them and defeat them or it. I can't remember if it's Daleks they were fighting or just one. I can't remember.
It seemed like it was just one, I think.
Probably,
I don't know.
Yeah. They managed to defeat it and then they cut it up into 3 pieces. And it was the job of these people to take them to sort of each sort of very long journey across the world and bury them so they never get found and put back together. And then cut to present day in Sheffield, archaeological dig, they find it, it comes back to life, it remotely summons the other 2 pieces and as if by magic, it's back. Then it inhibits or possesses the body of one of the archaeological people and it uses her to go off and find all the parts it needs to rebuild its external tank stuff, which it does. And and then it has a bit of a showdown with the Doctor.
And then it's defeated by a microwave.
The microwave oven comes into play. Nice little bit of full circle because the Doctor uses a microwave in episode 1 to sort of...
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Anyways, Resolution. Hit me, mate. I have no idea what you're thinking. What do you think?
No, I have no idea what you think either. Well, for the most part, I'm really pleased to say I actually really enjoyed this for the most part. I thought it was, it kept me engaged. It did feel quite epic. It did feel like a final to me. I mean, I had such incredibly low expectations after the last episode of the series, which, the final, which I found so drab. I thought, well, I hope this has got something to it. I mean, I just thought the start was great as well. I like this concept of the Dalek being chopped up into 3 pieces and scattered. I thought, oh, that's good. So overall, I thought it was good, mate. I like the idea. It did run out of steam a little bit for me towards the end. It sort of started to turn into just a bit of a chase across the world, which is something Chibnall does a lot. But overall, I thought it was good. It kept me entertained, and I thought there were some good action sequences. The Dalek was, when it was on her back, and that was really creepy, and I thought that was incredibly well done. So there was a good element of scariness to it. The one thing, I watched this again yesterday, and the one thing that's just I can't quite get my head around is how the Dalek summoned the other two parts. And I still don't get how it reformed. Like, I loved the idea that it was chopped up and scattered. Brilliant. But how did it reform? I still haven't quite got my head around that. It just, ultraviolet light just woke it. And yeah. Anyway, that aside, because that just seems, there are a few bits in this where we just kind of have to overlook it a little bit, like the plot holes, if you like. But yeah, apart from that, I did think it was good. I wasn't sold on the Dalek design when it first made its appearance, because there was a great build up to that. I thought, I was when the door blew open, I thought, here it comes, and then it rolled out, and I was like, I just don't know what to make of that. I know exactly what they were going for, like the steampunk, and I'm just not sure it worked for me. But one thing I did love is that although it didn't look that great, I don't think it certainly did kick ass. It was, it was pretty. There was lots of depth in it, and it certainly did, what a Dalek is designed to do. So, yeah. So overall, for the most part, it worked for me. I did enjoy it. Yeah. What about you?
Yes, I think it was a good episode, this one.
Yeah.
I feel like we should have had this in the series. I think this could have been... Imagine if this was dropped into like the middle of Series 11. It would have been an awesome sort of mid-series pickup that we needed, if you like, at the time. So I thought it was a great episode. The only thing is, it didn't feel like a special to me. That's the only thing.
Really?
Yeah, because I think it was a step up from some of the things that we'd seen throughout the series, which is good. But it just didn't feel like... and I think this is down to the BBC, really, and Chibbers, because before it went out, they were saying that this is going to be epic and it's going to be amazing. But I don't think they delivered on that. I don't think it was epic by any means. But it just felt like just an episode from the series. It could have been dropped in anywhere, or even the finale of Series 11. It would have been good for that. But
well, see, this is the thing. I kind of get where you're coming from. What I would have loved, really, is if this had been the series finale, but it ended with the Dalek getting the signal through. Right. And it's like, the Dalek Force are coming now. Because I desperately wanted to see the real Daleks make an appearance, even if it was brief. The whole build-up was he was going to get the Daleks to come, and I just thought, let's see the redesign of the, let's see like the Daleks proper make an appearance. So I would have loved this to have been the series finale, and for it to have ended with it sending the signal, and it's like, and then the New Year's Day special is proper, full-on Dalek invasion, and then that would have been epic, wouldn't it?
That would have been cool.
And I would have liked to have seen like the bronze Daleks that we got, but I'd like to have seen them painted silver and blue, but with the new design or something like that. Just a real simple, don't have to change it too much, just repaint them silver and blue or silver and black, and I just think they would have looked awesome. And yeah, I just think that would have made a great transition from the series final to the special, and completing the series. I think would have been epic. But so I kind of get what you mean. It did feel quite epic in places. I think there was enough action going on. It's just the scenes with Ryan's dad sort of killed a lot of the tension stone dead, and they to me feel like they should have been part of Series 11 rather than in this, if you know what I mean. It kind of took away every time the momentum got going. We cut to really long scenes. And they quite often involve Ryan and his dad. And I just thought I would have preferred some of that to have been in Series 11, really, and got that out of the way so we could just concentrate on this story. But yeah, but it still worked, I think, for me. It didn't sort of, didn't distract too much from the story.
No, don't get me wrong. I think this is some of the best that we've seen.
Yeah, definitely.
Since Chibbers took over. I think it's definitely up there with one of his better efforts. But yeah, it's interesting because if you think back to something like The End of Time Part 2, was that Tennant's last one? The End of Time?
Yeah, I think so.
If you think about that had scenes very similar. So it was kind of, it felt like it was this big epic end of an era, end of series thing. That did feel like a special, and then that slowed down a bit. If you remember, it seems like him and Wilf having a chat in a cafe.
Yeah, it's a lovely scene. Yeah,
so we've seen that before, where there's been action going on and stuff, and it cuts to just a conversation. There's nothing going on, But for some reason, this felt like it was laboured. It felt like it was, I don't know, like 2 minutes too long. You know, the scenes with Ryan and his dad, you know.
Well, it did actually. And I think watching this again yesterday, I think the reason is because the dialogue actually wasn't that good. Because I think those scenes could have worked perfectly well. Like you said, I love the scene in the cafe with the 10th Doctor and Wilf. It's lovely. Just the episode just breathes for a minute. But in this, watching it again yesterday, there's a Ryan's dad talks about a microwave for about 2 minutes. I'm thinking, well, who cares about that? He's literally talking about, I carry this microwave around, and I'm thinking, what? Well, you know, but 2 minutes before that, we were having some really great stuff, and so I think it's more down to the dialogue, mate. Because I don't think, I think you're quite right. It could have quite easily been a nice moment to just let the episode breathe. But I just think it was just that the dialogue was a bit boring and a bit flat. Yes. So it did feel really long. I mean, the scene did go on quite long, or it certainly felt like it anyway. It just didn't seem to be much to keep you interested in what they were saying. And it should have been a big moment because, you know, we've had all this sort of talk about Ryan's family and his dad and all this stuff. And we're quite sort of invested in it over Series 11. So it should have been quite a big moment of those two sitting down and getting this stuff off their chest. But it just was quite boring, really, that scene.
It should have been an emotional scene.
I think it should have been a bit more, because the scene with him and Graham I actually really like. I mean, that's another scene when, you know, the episode action slows down and we just get a scene between him and Graham when he brings out the box with all the mementos in, and he, you know, touches is it Aaron's hand and says, you know, come on, man, you've got to pull yourself together. That's a lovely scene between those two. And that's quite slow. So I think it's more just down to the dialogue and the way that particular scene was written, just kind of killed it a little bit stone dead for about 5 minutes.
Yes. Yeah. And I think also, Chibbers was just trying to drive the point home that later on at the end of the episode, the microwave saves the day kind of thing. So I think he's just trying to have it spoken about a little bit more than you would normally do for an inanimate object. You know, I think he's just trying to, you know, get the viewer to think, what's going on with this bloody microwave? You know, nobody cares about it, you know. So later on, it's like, oh, the microwave.
Yeah. I like the fact it was in the cafe that we saw, because that cafe is used for the promotional when we first got like that little teaser trailer. That's the cafe from there. And I think, I guess it's a set, I assume. So it's quite nice that it actually made an appearance in the series, if you like.
Yeah.
Yeah, at last. Yeah. Or maybe there was a budgetary thing, but either way, I liked it.
The bloody scarf. Everybody, you included, going on about picking up this bloody scarf. She only wears it for 30 seconds.
I know. And actually, what did make me laugh was that I know Chris Chibnall didn't want any spoilers out there, but blimey, the BBC promotional press office must have been pulling their hair out trying to promote this, because there was a tweet they put out saying, the Doctor's back and she's got a new scarf. And it was like, oh my God, is that the best you can come up with to promote this? And I'm thinking, well, they probably haven't been given a lot else they're allowed to say. But yeah, the scarf did become a big thing, didn't it? And I really love her in it. I think I don't know, something about it just really works for me. I think it looks great on her. But yeah, she wore it for about 30 seconds.
It doesn't fit with anything because she's in the TARDIS and it's nice and warm.
I know.
So why would she have a scarf? It's not like...
But they were all wearing one. I think there's probably a deleted scene that we'll never get to see, where they were giving them as presents on New Year's Day, because Graham's wearing a nice scarf at the beginning as well, and I don't know if the other guys are. I can't remember, but I just like to think there's a scene where Graham and the Doctor exchange presents, and you got me a scarf. Oh, you got me a scarf, and I don't know, but it seemed to be a thing at the beginning.
Yeah, like if she was. If her character was plonked into a story like Twice Upon a Time, you know, where she goes, you know, Capaldi goes out to the Arctic landscape and it's freezing cold.
Yeah.
Something like that. Then, of course, you know, keep the scarf on.
Yeah.
But she's inside the TARDIS. And what a build-up. It was never going to be anything epic like Tom's scarf, was it? Or anything like that. But
she could have used it to wrap around the Dalek's eye or something. My vision is impaired. I don't know. Or maybe wrap it around. I don't know. Yeah, she could. I'm sure she could have used it, but it was strange how much the scarf became a thing.
Yes.
Considering how much it was in it. There was a lot filmed in the TARDIS this episode, wasn't there? And me and you have not been sold on the TARDIS set, but for me, it kind of worked in this episode. I mean, I still don't love the design, but it kind of worked. All the TARDIS stuff for me in this. I don't know if it's the way it was shot.
Was better.
It looked colourful. I don't know. I just think the direction by Wayne Yip in this episode, I thought was fantastic. I really think he'd done a great job with the direction, and I think he managed to make that TARDIS set look quite good in a way. Well, quite good. I don't know. I just thought it worked. I still don't love it because I just find it so messy, but it did work. Considering how much we were in there for this episode, I didn't sort of sit there thinking, oh, look at those columns and stuff like I normally do. I was sort of quite invested in all the colours and stuff going on and the hologram appearing in it and all that. And she was tinkering around and using a big old microphone that's appeared on it. I don't know if that was there before. We got to see the spinny TARDIS thing again.
Yeah. Still no custard cream.
No custard cream, but we did get some pills.
Yes.
That popped out. There was some line about, don't take them with alcohol or you grow an extra head or something. But I know it fell flat. But yeah, it's good. He's got these little dispenser things and that.
Do you know what, mate? I think the way that the TARDIS has been used in Series 11, and particularly how the Doctor uses the console and stuff, because we didn't really see her using it a lot, did we? I think it's because we've been, like when you think back to previous Doctors, it's either you've got someone like Matt Smith or David Tennant who's sort of legging around the console, throwing switches quite dramatically and banging stuff. That's very cool. Or you've got it the other end. If you think back to like Davison's era, there'd be scenes where he'd be just very casually reaching for a switch while he's talking, or it's very, very slow. Whereas I think Jodie, the way that she's used it, has just been like in-betweeny, where she's kind of wanted to get cracking and leg round the console and be a bit manic.
It's too small because there's too many bits. She can't.
Yeah, or she's just been very disconnected from it and not really sort of been into it, if that makes sense.
Maybe that's why I liked it, because that's the thing. We haven't seen much of her using the TARDIS. It's just been there to land, and sometimes we didn't even see it land. I think that's why I liked it, because in this she was using it, and we did get to see the TARDIS taking off and landing. Like, love the scene when it lands in poor old Graham's house on the chair. I thought that was one of the jokes that really did make me. I thought that was quite fun, and she's like, well, don't leave him around and all that. There is good chemistry between Jodie Whittaker and Bradley Walsh.
Yes,
I watched calling Graham. Yeah, the Doctor and Graham. There's good chemistry between those two. They should play up to that more, because they often have these little. There's a slight. She gets quite cross with Graham at times, doesn't she? I've noticed. She's like, "All right, Graham," and I think they could have played up to that more, because those scenes are fun. Like when she lands on the chair and everything. So I just loved seeing the TARDIS getting used a bit more. I thought it was good. It wasn't over yet. The bit, when it appeared, he said, "Oh, that big blue cabinet's about to reappear," and all that. Scenes like that I just thought were really good fun.
Do you know what? I think we've needed that, because it's been used so little throughout the series.
And maybe I'm thinking now, maybe that's on purpose. Maybe, I don't know how much Chris Chibnall sort of plans his series, but maybe he thought that. Maybe he thought, this last episode, the TARDIS is going to be in it a lot. It's going to be zooming around back and forth. So I'm going to keep it for that. And, I don't know. It could just be that.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I'd like to think maybe that's why we haven't seen it. Because maybe that's why I enjoyed it so much, is it did feel nice to have the TARDIS so heavily involved in the story. Because I do love the TARDIS.
Yeah, it looks good. And the way she was using the console and stuff, and the way she was moaning at it as well. And it was just very cool. It was more, she felt more like the Doctor in those scenes than we've seen in a lot of her in the series, if that makes sense. She just felt like, I don't know, she felt like the Doctor in those bits.
She felt at home. Yeah, that's a very good point, actually. Yeah, because I love the scene when she summons the hologram. She talks face to face with the Dalek.
That was cool.
In TARDIS. Now, that was a great scene, and she did feel, like you said, like the Doctor, very at home. And she's like, you see this face? And I thought, oh, yeah, she's, this is more like it. She's standing up to the Dalek. And, you see this face, or whatever she said. I can't remember now. But that was a great scene, I thought. And then she was doing it just long enough to tell the girl, don't worry, I'm going to come for you and save you. Just hold on in there. And I thought that was a great scene. And it really sort of cemented Jodie as the Doctor more. I just wish we'd seen more of that, because it really worked for me.
Yeah,
all that stuff.
When you see that, when I finished watching this the first time round, some of the thoughts in my head were, it felt like this was more like, this was a bigger step in the right direction, and it
definitely
felt like this was more like it. And in some ways, it just makes me just even more so not really bothered about watching or rewatching any of Series 11, bar the odd episode, because it felt like it's just one elongated pilot just to get its, just to get itself moving. So I've really got high hopes, mate, for Series 12. I'm really hoping that when next year, God, that sounds so long, so far away, but next year when we get Series 12, I'm really hoping that they use this special as a stepping stone and just really listen to that feedback, because it's no, you can't hide the fact that so many fans have had criticisms and complaints about Series 11.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you've got a small group of fans who are not really into it and they're just blowing off steam on social, that's one thing, you can just say, oh yeah, we're not going to please everybody anyway. But when you have such a large portion of fan base saying, this isn't that good, that isn't that good, I'm really hoping that that's all been taken on board. And then when they look at this one, I think, actually, yeah, people like the fact that she was in the TARDIS more, and they like the fact that she didn't use the Sonic as much, and they like the fact that we have a classic monster back. All of those things, if they can sort of get that rocking into Series 12, yeah, I'm just hoping it's going to be a much better series. It does feel like the Series 11 really does feel to me like it was just one exercise after the other to sort of try and see what works and what doesn't. And then you got to the end of it and you think, oh, crikey, why couldn't she have been more like this in that episode? And why couldn't we have seen more of the TARDIS in that one? And why didn't she put the Sonic down more in that one,
Yeah, it certainly has taken a long time to find its feet. And I agree, this is a step in the right direction. Yeah. I mean, I think that the thing that worries me, though, is like you said, this feels like a standard episode of Doctor Who. So I think Chibnall thinking this is the most epic, it's almost as if if we're going to get more of that, so we'll get another sort of pretty much plodding along Series 12, and then we'll get another great episode at the end of it, because he thinks he's got to save everything for the special. And I think, yeah, we don't want that. We just want more of what we got in this special in the series, know.
Right.
And yeah, so. But I agree. It was definitely a step in the right direction. The thing I liked about it is I just found it enjoyable to watch.
Exactly.
Whereas I wasn't sat there thinking, oh, she's really annoying me now, or oh, this is really boring, or oh, where is this story going? I was sat there thinking, this is pretty good. This Dalek that's escaped. First of all, it looked fantastic when it was on the wall. It looked really creepy. Although why she went up and touched it, I'll never know. No one would do
Humans,
that.
Eh?
Oh, I was thinking, don't touch it. It's asking for trouble. But the bit when she's sort of in the car and something's wrong, but you're thinking, what's going on? Yeah. And then it crept up and she took her jacket off and it sort of inflated out.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. Yeah. I just thought it was proper horror. I just really liked it. I mean, that really creeped me out. And I thought, the Dalek mutant was just gross. It was all over her, wasn't it? It was just horrible. And the voice, while I remember this, Nick Briggs done a fantastic job doing the voice, because, on Big Finish, sometimes, there's only so many ways you can do the Dalek, and it can be a bit samey, but they really, reduced the modulation. They really lowered the voice, didn't they? It was really deep and creepy at the start, and it was brilliant. And then it just slowly went up and up and up until it got to the Dalek voice. And I thought that was incredibly well done. And, I wasn't even sure if it was Nick Briggs to begin with. I was like, is that Briggs?
Yeah, I didn't think it
was.
Yeah,
I assume it was.
No,
but,
it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just changed the effect on the, like you said, they'd lowered his very bassy and very...
Yeah, it was incredibly well done.
Yeah, he was on fire in this one. Briggs.
Yeah.
Old Briggsy.
Yeah. Did you prefer the Dalek when it was out of the case or in it? Because I found it incredibly creepy when it was out of the case. It seemed so much more threatening that it could just slither around and stuff like that. I mean, it was pretty kick-ass when it was in the case in terms of blowing things up, but the sort of look of it kind of took it away from me a bit. So
right, yeah. I mean, the Dalek. So this is a slightly different Dalek, isn't it, to what we've seen?
It's I wrote it down, a Dalek. I can't read my own writing. Something Scout.
It's a Scout Dalek, isn't it?
Then I can't read my writing. Something Scout.
Yeah, I think it was one of the. Wasn't it one of the first Daleks to leave Skaro and head towards Earth? Is that right? It was one of the early
ones.
Yeah,
yeah. Which is a nice idea. Yeah,
yeah. So it looks obviously very different to. So when we've seen the inside of the actual Daleks in previous Who stories, they've been these sort of rubbery looking. You know what I mean? They've been like this. You can tell it's just a piece of latex rubber that's like springing around and stuff. And they've got this little eye that's
normally got a little claw, isn't it?
Yeah. And also they all look really similar. You know, like if you think back to when we've seen them before, you know, Stolen Earth, that one where you've got Dalek Khan and you've got the other, you know.
Yeah.
They all look very similar, like giant starfish almost, like rubberized. Whereas this one was like completely different. It looked like...
it was darker, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it had like a big sort of pulsating bit in the middle and it was very tentacly and stuff. So the design was fairly cool. I mean, it looked just like, you know, the characters described it, you know, a bit of a squid type of, very underwater-like. And I thought that was a really nice change because they could have just used the normal design that we've seen since 2005, I suppose. That much smaller, more sort of stringy looking thing. So this was really cool to see, and it looked really threatening as well. Like when Lynn goes up to the wall, I was like probably like you and everyone else. As she puts her hands out towards it, I was, you know, don't touch it.
Don't touch it.
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
That's gross.
I know, yeah.
So that was really cool. And then when you see the tentacles just rise up over the back of her and stuff, it was really cool. So did I prefer that towards the A-Team style case that it built out of nothing? Yeah, I think it was more threatening that way.
I you know, the thing with the steampunk Dalek that we got is, to me, I feel like they so nearly got it right. I think it is just the fact it's too thin. Like in the top part, I absolutely see what they were going for. And in a way, I kind of like it, but I think if it had just been a bit more chunky in design, it would have been more threatening. Because as I said, they got the actions of the Dalek right. I mean, blimey, it was killing left, right, and centre. There was a lot of threat in this episode, which has been massively missing from Series 11. There was a lot of danger and sort of, it's, you know, there's people getting killed left, right, and centre. I mean, those two poor policemen as well.
Yeah.
Like that was a
cool.
harsh scene, wasn't it? I mean, that guy as well. I mean, it's funny because it had a sort of nice dark comedy moment as well, didn't it? Where it's like, how are you spelling that then? And then he gets it. And I thought, oh, wow, that was a good scene. But it did leave onto a bit of a plot hole. I was thinking, well, how is Lynn going to explain that away? Because, like, she's basically, I know it's not her, but she's gone around and killed a load of people. So technically, how is she going to explain that she didn't do all of that? Do you know what I mean? I don't know, but I guess you just have to overlook it. I mean, if UNIT hadn't been disbanded by Brexit, they probably would have cleaned all that up, because I'm pretty sure in some stories, the doctors just phoned them up and said, oh, you know, sort this out for me. Will you clean up the mess? I've got to go. But she can't do that now because UNIT have gone.
Oh, of course.
Now that caused, I knew it was going to cause, I knew people were going to kick off about that. I wasn't really upset or angry. I was a little bit like, oh, if you know what I mean. I get why Chris Chibnall's done it though, because I guess it's a bit too convenient for her just to rely on UNIT all the time. So I get why he did it, but anyway, they're only suspended. That's the thing. That's why I'm not annoyed about it, because although I think it was perhaps done in a bit, I think because it was done in a comedic way, I think that's why it rubbed people up the wrong way.
Yes, yeah.
Because it was done as a sort of, you know, it felt a little bit disrespectful to UNIT, which personally I love UNIT, because it was sort of done in this stupid scene of which was supposed to be funny of they've Brexit have taken their funding away or whatever, and it just felt a little bit disrespectful. I think that's why it rubbed people the wrong way. But there ain't, there's no reason they can't come back. It's not as if he shut the door on UNIT. They can come back.
Yeah, I was going to say they're not. Yeah. He hasn't killed them off, has he? They're just got no money at the moment.
Suspended. But, yeah. I think it's just the way it was done. Was perhaps a little. It could have been done better, I think. But I didn't really have a problem with him not being in it.
No, I didn't. No. I think. Unless they're sort of integral to the plot, sometimes UNIT can just, which is unfortunate, really, because in some of the previous stories they've been relegated to just sort of dumb soldiers legging around in the background and haven't really. It's mainly been down to the leader of UNIT at the time, which has been the appeal.
Yeah.
So I wasn't fussed, to be honest with you. It didn't really bother. I wasn't reach for the tissues. Like, oh my God, UNIT, no more UNIT. It didn't really bother me. I'm sure they'll turn up again.
Well, I wonder if Chibnall wants to bring in his own, if he just wants to get rid of sort of Kate Stewart, or if he wants to bring in his own style of UNIT maybe later on, depending on how long he wants to stay as showrunner. He might just want to have his own UNIT, task force, whatever, I don't know. It's okay. It's okay to give him a rest. I don't believe they're gone forever. So
that's cool.
I think it's all good.
Yeah. We've got a Big Finish, so.
Yeah, we got Big Finish are probably horrified when they did that, because they've got all the UNIT Kate Stewart stuff going on at the minute, and they're probably like, what? Probably didn't tell Nick Briggs when he was recording.
Or on the other hand, they're rubbing their hands together.
Oh, true. Thinking, we'll fill in those gaps.
Yeah, don't worry, we've got plenty of UNIT for you.
Yeah, plenty of UNIT. Yeah.
Back to the Dalek then. The recon
It just needed
scout.
to be. I think the design just needed to be a little bit more. It could be sort of all self-built and stuff, but it needed to be a bit, I don't know, chunkier. The design just didn't quite work for me, because it just looked like you could go up and kick it over, and it was the design just didn't 100% work for me. But I love the fact it didn't take any nonsense. Like when it was out in the field, everything it did was great.
All
the blowing up the tanks and the missiles and stuff like that. I just wasn't sold on the design 100%.
Yeah, I think it's just different, buddy, to what we've seen before, and it does. It takes a little. I mean, I didn't have a huge problem with it. The problem.
No, I didn't dislike it. No. I mean, I did like it. I just didn't love it.
Yeah, the problem I had with it was having everything available to build a fully functioning Dalek in a random warehouse.
Yeah, somewhere. I know. Yeah,
so I think it was really cool that it went off to the archive and
I liked that bit
and nabbed, its weapon and stuff. So that was very cool. Yeah. I thought, all right, it's gonna, do something. But then I really liked it in the first episode when we had that A-team. You know what I mean by the A-team moment? For any of our listeners that don't know, especially our younger listeners, there was a TV series on back in the 80s called The A-Team. You probably heard of it. And it was a group of ex-soldiers, and they did like private jobs, basically, freelancers. And they would always get captured at some point in the episode and locked in a garage or a warehouse somewhere. And then there'd be like this really over-the-top action music kick in. And then they would basically build this amazing weapon, like massive gun or this car or tank or something, out of these tiny little bits of bolts and
wood.
Sellotape like lying around somewhere. So I really liked in episode 1 the A-team moment that the Doctor had when she's making her Sonic. I thought that was brilliant because it was somewhat believable, because she had all of the steelworks there to do it all.
And the alien tech, didn't she?
Exactly,
From
So you sort of went with it and thought, actually, this is kind of feasible. But with this Dart, where would she, like, I can understand building like a very rough case of a Dalek shape. I get that. That's perfectly possible with like sheet metal and various bits of metal. But how, where do you get like the perfectly round spheres and like the rocket launcher? Do you know what I mean?
I think the rocket launcher was, I was like, hang on a minute.
And all that stuff, yeah. I mean, I've in no doubt at all that maybe 10 people, experienced welders, could have put together, a very rough case that does nothing in like a couple of days. But for like, a dainty little woman in this warehouse, he manages to build a fully functioning rocket launcher-based Dalek in an hour. or something. And they tried to play it off as well as a bit like, I'm tired. And the Dalek's like, get back to work, sort of thing, cracking the whip. You can kind of, they tried to play up to it. But that was the only thing I had with it. I thought, design doesn't offend me too much, but it's just, come on.
No, I was going to say, I didn't hate the design. I just thought it was so close to being good, but it just was. I think it could have been better. But I know that is one of the points of the story, I think, where you just have to
suspend belief.
Try not to think. Suspend belief, because it was a little bit silly. But then, I mean, Doctor Who's crazy in its own way. So I guess, but I know what you're saying. You have to kind of go with it a bit.
Yeah. And it's that age-old thing that sometimes you fall into the trap. We're watching a TV show about a traveling Time Lord.
Exactly. So where do you start?
Where do you start thinking what's technically possible in reality and what's not? I get, that whole thing, but I don't know. It just made me think like, come on. I don't know. But anyway, the design itself, I think people are pretty mixed on it. I think it looked pretty. One thing I really liked is the inside glowing red part of it at the top. I thought that looked really cool.
I like that. Yeah.
I think what's kind of cool about it is they didn't run away too much from the original Dalek design, but they did put their own little, like you said, sort of steampunky, almost grungy sort of look to it.
And I don't know if you agree, but in some shots it looked better than others.
Yes.
And I don't know. Sometimes it looked like an actual physical prop, and sometimes it looked like CGI. And I couldn't work out what was going on, if they were sort of mixing the two. And did you notice that? Or was it just me? Because sometimes I thought, actually, he's growing on me. He looks quite good. And then I'd see a sort of long shot of it when I thought, I don't know, he looks a bit feeble. And I couldn't sort of decide. I was a bit conflicted with it, but. Some shots it looked great, I thought.
You're absolutely right, mate. There were some shots where, especially the close-ups, it looked really good.
Yeah.
And the bit where it came through the ceiling at the whatever place they were at later on in the episode. Did it come through the ceiling or come through the wall? I can't remember.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
That looked really cool, that bit. It looked quite menacing and stuff. But the bit where it's just wheeling down the road before it gets to the army truck.
Yeah.
I thought, it looks a bit now.
Yeah. It's
and it's just sort of
almost like the remembrance wobbling along. Yeah.
But overall, not terribly offended by it like some people were, but probably not the best that we've seen to come in Who. Probably in series, 32, we're going to have some crazy design that's really going to offend people. It'll be like
be like the Paradigm Daleks all over again. Yeah.
But no, it wasn't too bad.
Is that what they're called? Paradigm? I always get it wrong.
Paradigm. Yeah,
Paradigm. Yeah.
So this one, the official title for this one then is just called simply a Reconnaissance Scout Dalek.
Reconnaissance Scout, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And its special powers is it's able to control humans and use them as vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
It's able to be restored via ultraviolet light, even if it's cut up into small pieces like sushi. And upon possessing a human, the human can sense or detect the Dalek's hatred for life. So it's like a two-way switch. So not the Dalek doesn't just control the human can detect how much hatred it has for life, other than its own, of course.
I wondered why it didn't kill Lynn, actually. When it finished, it sort of got its use of her. I don't know if there was a line, because I tried to sort of pick up on this when I watched it again for a second time, but I was just thinking surely it would have, once it had finished with it would have just got rid of it, wouldn't it?
I don't know.
I couldn't work that out. I think she does say something a lot. She says something like, I could feel it wanted to kill me.
Yes,
or something. And I was thinking, well, why didn't it?
Yeah, because it doesn't have there's no way that it would have thought, I've grown a bit of a soft spot for you.
No,
because
exactly.
You've helped me out.
You've done well.
Yeah,
you've all done very well.
Yeah. As we all know, they don't feel anything, do they? So it wouldn't.
I just thought it was strange.
Yeah. So logic would suggest that once the job's done, she would have bit the dust. But
that's what I was assuming. They were going to walk in and find her just on the floor dead. To be honest,
lucky escape.
I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad it didn't actually. But I'll come on to that when we talk about the cast. But yeah.
Okay. Right, and then what did you think to sort of excuse the pun, the resolution of the story? Because that kind of...
Yeah. Well, I've got to just say it's again, it's a bit of a typical Chris Chibnall story in that respect, isn't it? Because it sort of, it just has another rushed ending, I think.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. I'm not quite sure on the microwave thing, and I thought it was very strange that it was Aaron that came up with the idea, because thinking, how would he know that a microwave kills a Dalek? Yeah. I thought that was a very strange bit of writing. Yeah. But because the Doctor's like, oh, well done, Aaron, I like you. And I'm thinking, how the hell would he know that? So I'm not quite sure about the whole killing the Dalek with the microwave thing. I'm not sure that worked particularly well, but it got us to the end of the story, I suppose. And it was that thing of, I think a lot of us were sat on the edge of our seat thinking, come on, Dalek, get that blooming signal out. Come on, what you waiting around for? It was that, will he, won't he summon them? Obviously, there's 5 minutes left of the episode. He's not going to, but, it was still nice to think that he might have just got the signal out. But, yeah, it was a slightly rushed conclusion, I think. After all the chasing around, but it wasn't bad. I didn't think it. I didn't sort of sit there and think it wasn't a reset button or anything like that. So I still think it was quite a decent end to it. And I did love the bit as well after the Dalek shell was all blown up. I did love the bit that they were like that the mutant had escaped.
Yes, that was
cool.
So
actually they thought it defeated him. Actually, hang on a minute, and it was on Ryan's dad's back. The only thing that I just felt was a bit off. And my other half said exactly the same thing when we watched this yesterday. The Doctor's plan of getting rid of it just seemed a little bit not thought through. Like, obviously Ryan's dad's going to get sucked out the door with it. I mean, I just don't quite get what the Doctor was trying to do there. It just seemed a bit... It was as if she thought, oh, well, he'll have to go with it. I don't know. It seemed a little off to me, that, because obviously the thing's going to drag him out with it and the force of it. I didn't quite get that.
I love that, yeah.
Yeah.
No, do you know what, mate? I thought exactly the same thing when I first watched it.
That didn't seem quite right.
Yeah, because the Doctor it doesn't feel like that's something the Doctor would do, like sacrifice a human life, even if it would mean killing off the Dalek. It just doesn't seem like, because it felt like in her head the Doctor's thinking, well, you lot haven't had a good word to say about him the whole series, so
yeah,
you're not going to miss him, are you? You've slagged him off all the series, so
exactly.
Goodbye to Aaron. But I know what you mean. It just felt a little bit like the Doctor knew 100% that he was going to get sucked out with the Dalek, but she made no attempt to.
All it needed was one line of her just sort of going up to him and saying, like quietly or whatever, just saying, hold on, hold on to the console. And then even if he held on, but then lost his grip, you've still got the same scene. It needed something to show that the Doctor was trying to protect him rather than just throwing him to the the lamb to the slaughter sort of thing. It was just a bit strange, I thought.
Yeah, and the whole microwave thing as well. Do you know what? I think that goes back to that scene in the cafe with Aaron and Ryan as well, where although the microwave conversation went on for a little bit too long, we also had Chibbers planting the seed again, saying, instead of him just being some guy that flogs microwaves, they came out with this thing that he's been working on this particular microwave. I've designed and built these myself. So they're cracking. You know what I mean? It's like, Chibbers, come on, you're trying
he said it was it's a microwave and an oven, he said, didn't he?
Yeah, it's like...
Well, microwaves are oven.
It's like, you want us to believe that this character's just reinvented the wheel, and now it's like, oh, that's why he told us that he built and designed this one, because this is a special one.
This is a special microwave.
This is the one.
Living clumsy as well. Carrying that thing around.
This is the one that is designed to build this microwave, on top of the cracking price,
kills Daleks.
It's the one that's been designed to kill the mutant Khaleds that we know nothing about, but is a special one. So let me just tinker with it. And here we go. Dalek Destroyer.
Dalek Destroyer. Ding!
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, God. I see what you mean. Planting the seed.
It was too convenient as well. Because nobody in their right mind is going to think, okay, I'm here to see my son. It's quite serious business. I'm here to make amends. I know I'm up against it. He doesn't like me. Graham doesn't like me, but I'm going to see it through. I'm going to do it. And now I've got this crazy thing going on with this TARDIS thing and the Doctor. But what I'm going to do is make sure that I carry this microwave around with me the whole time.
Yeah.
Because you never know when you're going to need an oven.
Actually, I'll tell you one thing was surprised, actually, that he survived. I honestly thought he was a goner, didn't you?
Yeah.
I thought Ryan's going to go out. It's going to be that scene, isn't it? It's Dad, I forgive you. He's gone.
Yeah.
But we had that moment. Yeah. I thought he's a goner. So I was pretty pretty surprised that he survived, to be honest.
Yeah.
Were you? Did you think he was? I was like, he's gone.
Yeah, I thought they were going to play the heartstrings moment that Ryan and his dad have finally connected.
As soon as he said, I forgive you, I thought, oh no, he's gone.
I love you, Dad.
I love you, Dad.
I forgive you. And then bosh, he's off. But no, the Chibbers.
I was shocked.
Not today. Everybody lives.
Now that microwave, Doctor, that'll be $79.99, please.
Yeah, just imagine him getting his checkbook out.
Well, she'll have to pay for it.
Yeah.
There was a time as well, they just invite him in. So do you remember, the first Doctor when Barbara and Ian blunder in? He's like, oh, you've seen the ship? That's it. You know too much. You've got to be kidnapped now. And but nowadays, everyone just gets invited in the TARDIS, don't they? Come on in. Bring your microwave. Let's have some food and a cup of tea.
Yeah, bring all your personal possessions. It's all good.
Everyone just gets invited in the TARDIS now, don't they? But it just makes me laugh because I just think back to Hartnell. He'd be doing his nut, wouldn't he? You let them in the ship. Yeah. Right, lock that door. He's electrocuting people on the console when they blundered in before, wouldn't they?
Crazy.
Yeah, times have changed.
Indeed.
They certainly have.
Yeah. So, I mean, these are just sort of little hiccups, really, with Chibnall's writing that we've come to expect, unfortunately.
Well, I think it's been out there for a while. I can't blame him. It's not a biggie. It's just something I noticed. I was thinking, if that had been Hartnell with that console, you'd have been electrocuted down.
Yeah.
You'd have been out there. In fact, he'd have kicked you out that door.
Yeah, so the Seventh Doctor.
Get out. He'd have put a skull across you. What was it? He'd have cracked a skull over your head.
Yeah. Imagine a Seventh Doctor. He would have gone nuts as well.
Yeah.
The Doctor, it's a microwave. Yes. I know it's a bloody microwave. He would have gone mad.
He'd be tipping his hat to it, probably. No, Doctor.
Yeah. Anyways, the ending was a little bit convenient for me and a little bit. I still feel like somebody should have gone this series, the special included. I think we needed a bit of heartbreak.
I'm really surprised somebody, especially as we got more characters, than ever. I'm surprised nobody went. Yeah.
Anyway, that was the ending. So let's talk about some characters then.
Yeah.
Let's breeze through some of these lesser parted people. The two coppers. Now, the two police people. I still don't know why British writers write our own police force to sound like they were sort of Bobby on the beat from the 60s.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Why do they still continue to do that? Because I'm not saying that I've been in trouble with the law. I'm not saying that, but I have been pulled over a couple of times in my driving life. And let me assure you that policemen do not come up to you with that kind of typical going a bit fast there, were we?
And he called her love, all right, love.
Yeah, that just doesn't happen.
Oh, I know.
When we get pulled, it's a very different conversation, trust me. So I don't understand why every single writer in British television still writes police people to be, knackered. I don't know, but the guy, the police guy that was questioning that funny little line of how you spelling that was quite cool.
I liked that bit.
Yeah, that's quite funny. Police Officer Will, I think, played by Darryl Clark.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. The other policewoman, pretty good.
Yeah, she did. She just got killed, didn't she? She didn't do a lot. Yeah.
Just see her laying on the ground.
That's right.
After the initial gasp out the window.
Yeah.
Pretty good. What did you think to the other I can't say that word. Archaeological guy.
Oh, what? Mitch?
Yeah.
Mitch?
Yeah, played by who was it? Nikesh Patel. Yeah.
I didn't mind him actually. I thought he was. I'll be honest, I forgot he was there a lot of the time because it was pretty crowded in that TARDIS, wasn't it?
Yes.
But no, I liked him. I liked the bit when he's on the phone to Yaz, and then the TARDIS appears right in front of him, and she's on the phone to him, and he's like, "What the hell?" There's a couple of nice little scenes, and I thought, this little love thing between him and Lynn could have been very. Well, it was a bit cheesy, to be honest, but I did quite like it. I quite liked them together. The dialogue was a bit ropey at the start. Oh, was that a kiss or But I think they did quite well with what was given to them. So I liked Mitch. I thought he was all right.
Yeah, I thought he was cool. I think the dialogue between him and Lynn, it was a little bit cheesy.
It was a bit cheesy,
a little bit, but you can go with that.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Yeah. So let's talk about Lynn then.
Now, Lynn, I thought was great. Charlotte Ritchie. Where the hell have I seen her before? Because she looked very familiar. But I thought she was really good in this episode because she had all the, little flirty stuff at the start. And then when she got that thing on her back, she did look proper terrified. And then when her sort of transition from that to the sort of Dalek, when she's, shooting that guy at the warehouse, she's like, exterminate. I thought the transition that she managed to portray was brilliant, actually. From the moment it was on her back leading up to that point, then leading up to the bit when she built the Dalek. I really thought she played the part incredibly well, actually. That's why I'm glad she wasn't killed off, because I think, to be honest, I think the Dalek would have killed her. But I didn't want her to die. I thought she was good. Yeah.
It's... for some reason, I thought that she was the girl that was in Class. I thought it was the same actor that,
I know who you're thinking of.
Yeah, I know
it's not her.
No.
Yeah, no, I can see why. Yeah, she does look a little like her. She was in Fresh Meat, which I vaguely remember.
Very interesting, though, is that the last acting thing she did before this was something called the Time Travelers Support Group.
Never heard of it.
And it was just a short film. It was like 40 minutes. And she played a character called Lena. So only one letter away from her.
Yeah, she was working up to this part. Yeah. But no, I thought she was very good. I really thought she acted. Acting was good, and she just played that part very well, I thought.
Yeah. What about Aaron then?
The dad.
The dad, yeah. I'm going to really screw up the pronunciation.
I know. I thought I'd leave it to you to pronounce it. Daniel
Adegbayega. I think so. Yeah. So, I thought he did pretty well, to be honest.
I liked him. I thought he was good. Yeah, he underplayed it a bit, but I think rightly so. Yeah. No, I thought he was a good casting for the dad. Yeah. I didn't have any problems with him at all. I thought he was pretty good.
Yeah, I think, and he was also really good when he was the Dalek host towards the end. He played that creepy as well.
Yeah, and as I said earlier, I did like the scenes between him and Graham as well. Cool. Yeah. That sort of awkwardness between the two. I mean, it's quite funny when Graham first shuts the door in his face. It's like, not today. I thought that was a good moment. So yeah, no, I thought he was good casting. I thought he did good job. Yeah, it's quite believable. I thought I could see him as Ryan's dad. I thought, I can see that.
Yeah, that's what I thought actually. The one thing in my notes, he came across as very believable. Yeah.
I didn't feel much chemistry between him and Ryan, though. I will say that, but I think that's more down to Tosin. I don't know. I think there could have been a bit more of a bond between them. But then again, I suppose they're supposed to be a bit estranged, aren't they? They haven't seen each other.
Exactly.
Yeah. So maybe it's down to that. But yeah. But no, I thought he was good.
Right. What about Yaz?
Yaz. Poor old Yaz. She did get a few nice moments in this. I just honestly can't remember any, but I know she did. I mean, she was. Yeah, I just feel she's a little underserved. Bless her.
Got sidelined a little bit in this one.
Yeah, she always does, though, doesn't she? There was a couple of good moments between her and the Doctor, and as I said, the bit on the phone, and I don't know, but yeah, just a little underserved, but nothing wrong with her performance. I do quite like Yaz. I just want her to get something to do,
Yeah, she's had a couple of good bits throughout the series, hasn't she? She's had some really cool moments.
I feel like we need her. I feel like we need her and the Doctor to sort of break off a bit on their own or something. I don't know. She just needs to get given her moment to shine. And yeah, once again, she didn't really get much to do in this episode, but she was fine. Nothing wrong with her performance.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
And Ryan, then, so you said Tosin, you went.
Well, I thought he was okay. I thought he was good, but it's just, I don't know. I expected the scene in the calf. I think we should have had a bit more emotion coming. I know what he was doing. He's doing the sort of, go on, explain yourself. I know what he was sort of going for, but I think there should have been a bit more emotion from him. But again, he was perfectly good. Yeah, I can't really say much more on that. He was just fine. He didn't sort of stand out or get any particularly great moments that I can think of, but he was all right.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's true to what for Tosin and Mandip. I think throughout the entire series, one thing that is good about those guys is they've been very consistent throughout the series. There isn't any point where I thought, "Wow, this is a massive drop off in performance from last week," or vice versa. I did think that they were you knew what you were getting with those two. And yeah, I thought, Ryan was decent as usual. It was just, the writing was a bit.
I just can't think of any sort of moments, I'm really struggling. When I think of Ryan and Yaz in this episode, I'm just trying to think.
Well, there was a bit with Ryan and his dad at the end. That was quite emotional, where he kind of forgives his dad and tells him he loves him. That was a very short-lived little nice moment, but. Yeah,
because did they invite him along to stay in the TARDIS or something? He's like, no. So it's possible we might see him again, and maybe their relationship will build and stuff. I don't know, but yeah,
maybe. Yeah. Bradley Walsh then, Graham.
Yeah, great as always. I was worried that he was getting sort of sidelined at one point. When they left him behind.
Yeah.
I thought, no. They've realised that they've got too many people and they're going to leave poor old Graham behind. So I was a bit worried at one point, but no, I think he was great, and he wasn't sidelined, thankfully. It just, that moment when he said, "Oi, you've left me behind," and all that, I thought it was really funny. Great, great scenes with him, lovely scenes with him talking to Aaron, and their relationship and all that stuff. He's great. I love Bradley.
Yeah, he's been so good. I think, everybody said the similar things about Bradley Walsh. He's been so good throughout this series, and this one was no exception. He just seems to have really, I think out of all of them, I think he's the one that's had the best grasp the concept and handle on what on who his character is.
Yes, I get you. Yeah.
He's just really... He's never been chewing the furniture. He's never underplayed it. He's always just been spot on with every scene. I don't know. He's just been a really cool character.
There's been no moment when I've thought, oh dear, that was a bit silly. No, he's absolutely consistent. Yeah,
he's great. And his interactions with the others, especially the Doctor sometimes, it's just gold, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the Doctor herself then?
The Doctor herself, I did like Jodie in this, actually. I did like her, yeah. I thought she gave a good performance. There was one or two little moments where, the exposition thing came into play towards the end, and she does these things with her hands, doesn't she, when she's explaining, and it just sounds like she's reading a script, and I'm like, oh. But that again is absolutely down to the writing and not her performance, really. But no, I thought she was good in this. I did warm to her quite a lot, and she was standing up to the Dalek and being quite, in its face, which is something we needed to see more of the Doctor saying, Well, she says it a couple of times in this episode, doesn't she? That the Earth is protected by me. I am the Doctor. And I thought, yes, come on, that's right. We needed more of this earlier on in the series. So I don't have any complaints really about Jodie's performance in this episode. And I'm pleased to say that, because I think at the end of Series 11 on our review of Colossus, whatever it was called, I was really disheartened. And I think I said to you, didn't I? If this New Year's Day special isn't at least enjoyable for me, then I'm gonna be, and so I got to the end of this episode and I was just, perfectly happy with it. I thought, I enjoyed that. I'm kind of on board with the TARDIS team again, thank goodness, because there were lovely moments like when she turns to I hate all this stuff where she keeps going on about fam and friends. fam friend. Yeah, they've done that joke to death. You know, that needs to stop. But the bit I did love was when she turned to the gang and said, what was it? Something about, I don't know, they agreed with something. We're going to do this. They were like, yeah, go for it. She said, now, am I fast enough to do it? And they're like, She's like, oh, well, that needs work. And I liked that, like the interaction between her and the TARDIS team and stuff like that. So, yeah, I liked her in this. I really did. And the scarf was great.
No, I agree. Yeah, the scarf was great.
Do you like Jodie in this one?
I did, mate. Yeah, I thought she was absolutely in the right direction with this one.
Definitely.
And like I said earlier, it's just a shame that we didn't see more of this stuff earlier on, because I think if we did, then some of those episodes would have been a bit better. The ones that we scored low, you know. So I think she's definitely on her way after this one. I think if we didn't have this special, just say for argument's sake, the BBC were like, no, we're not doing Doctor Who over Christmas or New Year anymore, and we left Series 11 where it was, then like you, I would have been like, oh, I'm not even, you know, I'm not fussed at all. I'm certainly not fussed about waiting a whole year, at least for Doctor Who. But now this one's been and gone, I think, well, yeah, I'm actually keen to see what they're going to do with the story and the characters from here on in. I'm actually quite interested. And I think if she can build on what she did in this one, it'll be, I think a lot more people will be into her character. And I think the exposition thing that she does, I think they do need to definitely knock that on the head.
They need to tone it down, definitely.
Because some doctors did do that, and it was kind of cool when they did it, but there was a reason for them doing that.
And also, she does it in the same way every time, and I'm not quite sure why, because as soon as she's got to explain something, she almost turns to camera. It's almost as if she's talking. She sort of does this thing with her hands, doesn't she? She's like, so that's going to go in the water. And she sort of does the same thing every time, rather than saying the lines as if she's talking to, you know, whoever she's in the room with. It just feels a little unnatural the way she does it and the way it's written as well.
Exactly.
So if they can just tone that down a bit, but definitely go in the right direction. And like you, I'm much more on board with this TARDIS team again than I was by the end of Colossus. I mean, I'd had it by the end of that. I was like, oh god, she was quite irritating in that from what I remember. But yeah, more of this Doctor would be good. And you know, some doctors do take a while to find their feet, and she's taken her time, I think. But yeah, if we can get more of this, I think it'd be great.
She's doing a McCoy. Yeah,
I just hope we don't lose momentum though, because I don't know when they're filming the next series. I don't know when.
It's very soon.
Is it? Yeah, I just hope we don't lose the momentum. You know, they seem to be on a roll at the end of this story, and that was a lovely last scene when she says, "Where do you want to go now?" or something. She says, "Everywhere," doesn't she, or something?
Yeah, and I thought that was quite a cool closing line, if you like.
Yeah, well, it sort of opens up the whole, right, where do we go now? Sort of, okay, where we go next? So it does leave that anticipation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so I think
the next
overall,
series.
I think, do you know what? I genuinely think this is like a carbon copy of what we had with McCoy, you know? Because when McCoy his first series, they try to write him as like this very comedic, light-hearted sort of Doctor, but it turns out that as we went through his series, he wanted to make it a bit more of a different vibe than what they initially came with. So I'm hoping that we see a slightly a shift away from the childlike comedic side of her that she's trying to do, and move more into, I don't want it to be a dark Doctor Who, but just have these little moments of thinking, oh,
I would love to see it. Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, I would love to see another side to Jodie's Doctor, because at the minute we've mostly got the sort of comedic, even when she's sort of standing up to the Dalek, she's still coming out with these sort of one-liners, you know, in the script. She's like, all right, mate. She calls the Dalek mate at one point. So I think that's all good, but I think we do need to see another side to her Doctor, a slightly dark side. It would be great if we get to see a bit more of that in the next series.
Yeah. Just like McCoy did, you know, like we saw those moments where he's sort of manipulative
in a conflict of, you know, all the stuff that he's going through. And
so I think we will see a shift in her character a little bit. I'd be very surprised if throughout series 12 we see exactly the same things that we've seen in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think less of the sort of gurning face pulling and the sort of, and I do put a lot of this down to the way she's being written. You know, the lines like, "Oh, I love I don't know, I love bubble lapping, I invented Wellingtons, all this sort of stuff. Just tone all those silly lines down, because Jodie's Doctor is much better when she's, being a strong sort of lead in the story rather than childlike. Oh, I want to ride the conveyor belt, she says in Kablam, and it's like, oh dear me, like, it just undermines the strength of the character for me when she comes out with childlike lines like that. So less of that and more of the Doctor, like we saw when she's confronting the hologram, saying, I'm coming for you and all this. It makes you feel like, yeah, there's the Doctor, she's gonna sort it out. Don't mess with the Doctor, sort of thing. Yeah. So like to see a bit more of that. I'll tell you one thing I've got to say, what I remember as well. One particular line that had me grinning from ear to ear was when she says, when the Dalek says something about, I'm off in 50 something rels, and she's like, yeah, how long's the rel again? Because I love the rel clock from the Dalek movies. I loved that reference so much. I really did. I was just beaming when the Doctor said that. I really was.
Those little nods are cool when they come along.
That was brilliant.
Because it wasn't in your face, was it? It wasn't a...
No, because if you didn't know, it wouldn't matter. But for those of us that do know, it was a real nice... I just loved it. I loved it when she said that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okie dokie then. I think we've gone through most of it. Is there anything else you want to mention before we slam scoring?
No. There's just the only other thing. I'm pretty sure you thought this as well, that when Lynn drove up to her house, for a second I thought it was Sarah Jane's
house. Yeah.
I don't think it was, but it looked blimmin' similar. I thought, what? For a minute there, I wondered whether they were going to make a thing of that, but no, I think it was just a very similar location. I just wanted to ask you about the music, actually, because we both love Segan's music. And I thought for the most part it was really good in this episode, but I wasn't overly sold on the sort of guitar-y twanging drum bits that we got. So when she was in the archive finding the Dalek gun, we sort of got this almost American-styled
Western kind, yeah.
Western, and I wasn't sure about that. It's the first time really when I've felt Segan's music didn't quite fit the scene. And it was only a couple of moments. For the most part, I loved his music in this, but yeah, there was just those bits didn't suit the scene, I didn't think.
Right.
I just wondered if you felt that.
Yeah, no, I did. I thought, as soon as I heard that bit, I thought, oh, this is new.
He's trying something different, but I'm not sure it was quite right.
Yeah, it was okay, but yeah, not as good as some of his previous efforts, I would say.
No, it just reminded me of like when I'm making YouTube videos and I try and find the right music to fit. And it's incredible how different the atmosphere can be by the music you choose. And I just thought, I'm not quite sure he's got the right tone there. But anyway, it was a very small thing. But it's just because we love his music so much. It's the first time that something stood out as not quite being right for me. Yeah. But yeah, that's the only other thing. And the last thing on my list was, and I noticed this particularly on my second watch, was I absolutely loved the end shot of the TARDIS in the vortex, because it wasn't just the standard flying through space. It actually almost did like the tunnel effect of the TARDIS being face on before it turned.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful. It reminded me of the Tom Baker intro where the TARDIS just fading away from him, and then it turned and went into the vortex. That was absolutely beautiful. Loved that.
No, I agree. It's awesome. Yeah. I've really liked the vortex clips that we've seen throughout the series. They've been really good. Nice. Yeah.
And again, just going back to the direction, some of the direction in this made the episode look beautiful. I thought the scenes of them walking sort of from real location into the TARDIS set and all that, and swooping shots. It was very well directed, I thought, by Wayne Yip.
A couple of things that I had just on my list very quickly was, I thought it was weird that we just randomly didn't get an intro to this one.
Yeah, it's funny that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I wonder why.
Yeah, it's odd. Just, I can't think of a reason why we wouldn't have one. I don't know.
No, and it's funny because I didn't notice until after the episode ended, and I suddenly thought, there was no theme tune, was there? And I had to think about it. I was thinking, was there? And I was like, no, I'm sure there wasn't. And it is a strange choice. I mean, you could put it down to timing, but then if anything, if I was going to cut anything from this episode, it would be that joke about the internet going down, because that, when she says we're going to have a conversation.
Oh, yeah.
And the kids go, what? And I was thinking, this just seems like a joke that's been thrown into Phil to admit that needed to be cut, I think. But
it's weird.
Yeah, it was strange we didn't get an intro. Yeah.
I also thought the font that they used at the very beginning looked like a PowerPoint thing that my son knocked up a couple of weeks ago for school.
It's funny you mentioned that because I didn't know if it was just me being particularly picky, but I thought the fonts were awful.
Yeah.
They reminded me, again, it reminds me of when I'm making YouTube videos and I'm like messing around with the font thinking, oh God, no, that looks terrible. Let me try something else. I know it's a really strange thing to pick up on, but it really, in this day and age, it just looked cheap.
Yeah,
it was a big chunky, and it filled the picture. Mm-hmm. And what was underneath it was a really nice swooping shot of all this great landscape. And I was just thinking, what is going on? It looked like something that, it just looked unprofessional. I'm glad you mentioned that because I thought it was just me.
Yeah, it's weird. I can see again they're trying to do something different.
It's too chunky and it filled the screen, and it was like, what?
But the font they used was awful as well. It was just, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
Otherwise, though, is this a good story to leave us hanging for over a year for new Doctor Who? Mostly, yeah, I would say.
Yeah, I'm just glad I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it on a second watch. I wasn't really bored. Even the cafe scene, which dragged a bit, I do like this episode, and I'm pleased about that because we've got such a long wait till the next series. It needed something to keep me invested.
Yes, absolutely.
Especially after Colossus of Colossus. Yeah. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
Enjoyed it enough to buy the standalone Blu-ray?
No.
Okay.
Not at the price it's at the minute. I will get it. I'll definitely get it at some point, but. Yeah, that's the thing. It wasn't amazing. It didn't blow my socks off, but it was enjoyable, and I thought it was good.
Cool.
And that's I'm happy with that.
Yeah. Scores then.
Okay.
Who's going to go first?
You go first.
I'll go first then. I'm going to give this a 7.5.
Ooh, 7.5. Thought you'd be a bit higher than that. Okay. Well, I am slightly higher. I'm an 8.5.
Okay.
I'm an 8.5. I must admit, I looked back to see what I'd scored the other episodes because I was thinking it's probably the episode I've enjoyed the most. It's up there for me with Rosa and Woman Who Fell to Earth, which I think I rated higher. But yeah, it's on that level.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I thought it was enjoyable. Yeah.
Yeah. Okie dokie. Our lovely listeners have sent in some audio clips.
Right, let's see what they think of it all then.
Yeah, let's get to those. So, Sammy Satine from Down Under.
Sammy.
Hey, Gary and Adam, Sammy Satine here. So, Resolution, a Dalek. Yes! I have never been so happy to see a Dalek. Excellent work as per usual. Nick Briggs, great to have you back, sir. The Dalek min was huge. Also, it still freaks me out. Also, awesome that it is basically a Genesis Dalek because it was one of the first to leave Skaro. Oh, awesome. We could have done without the Ryan's dad plot. It just seemed to get in the way of the story a bit. The companions needed more to do. I'm glad 13 was scared of the Dalek and that the Dalek was scared of her too. Why did the Doctor just call Unit? Why not Torchwood or something? I like this story. Do this but better in Series 12. Please, Chibnall. I give it 9 Dalek Retcon Scouts out of 10. See ya.
9.
A 9. That's good. Good score.
Very cool. Thank you very much, Sammy.
Okay.
Yeah, why didn't why didn't the Doctor just call? So I don't know.
Unit. They've been the Brexit, mate.
No,
gone.
Torchwood.
Yeah. Brexit as well. They've gone as well.
They're another victim. Okay. Yep.
Brexit's killed everything.
Yeah. This is Time Lord 0902.
Hello, Gary and Adam. This is Time Lord 0902 with my review of Resolution. I like the beginning, although I found it hard to believe that a Dalek with a force field that can stop bullets and take to the air can be defeated by 9th century weapons. I enjoyed the transition into modern day and the discovery of the Dalek. I love the scenes with Lynn and the Dalek and wish they focused on that. I honestly believe that the episode would have been so much better without the miscast cosplayer and her Scooby-Doo gang. There were times where it felt like a soap opera, especially the horrible dialogue between Ryan and his father. I did not care for the whole single father criticism once again, the unit Brexit scene, the security guard boyfriend line, which I'm still trying to figure out, the miscast cosplayer and her scrunchy faces. Well, you get the idea. I had to laugh when Jodie said she was a doctor to the Dalek. No conviction, and I sure didn't believe it. Too bad the Dalek didn't exterminate her in this season. I do have one question for you guys. Honestly, if Yaz was replaced with a cutout, would anyone really notice? Doctor Who for me ended with Peter Capaldi. Let me know when season 11 comes back on air. I would like to thank Chris Chibnall for saving me some money, as I will not be buying a Doctor Who season for the first time since I can remember. So on a scale of 10, I give the Dalek and Lynn scenes 10 out of 10 because they were fantastic. But the rest of the episode I give a 1 out of 10. And I would like to say happy 2019 to you guys, as I am off to Sheffield to build myself a Dalek while I listen to Money for Nothing by Dire Straits. Because you know how the line goes. We have to install microwave ovens. Guys, have a great 2019. Cheers.
Microwave. I used to love that song. On your MTV. Brilliant. Make sure you when you do build that Dalek, make sure you make it give it a bit of beef.
Yeah, beef it up a bit.
Beef up a bit.
Not impressed with Jodie.
No, not impressed. No.
Oh dear.
No.
Well, let's hope, yes, Series 12 brings the goods.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, well, we're all hoping. Yeah.
This is Martin Arnold.
Happy New Year! So, Resolution. I'm not quite sure why it was called Resolution, or why it couldn't have been broadcast on Christmas Day, quite honestly. I mean, but whatever. I enjoyed it. I thought it once it got going, it was really good. It did take a little while to get going, which I thought was weak. I didn't like the very start. I thought that was... And the choice of font was really bad. It just looked really amateurish. That was odd. The only other criticism I thought was Ryan's dad. His character was clearly an obvious plot device, and of course, love saves the day. Okay, all right, it's Christmas, I suppose, or rather, the microwave MacGuffin saves the day. Which, just as well, he was carrying that around, eh? His bizarre microwave combo device that also annihilates Daleks. But the body horror aspect of it, with the Dalek mutant taking over the archaeologist, was really good. I liked that. That was really interesting. So yeah, I thought it was a really good episode and a really good chance to see Jodie go up against some proper enemies and show her stuff. So excellent. More, please. Cheers, folks.
Thank you, Martin.
Thank you, Martin. Yeah, those microwaves are coming to a Curry's near you very soon. The Dalek microwave.
That's maybe what they're going to be called, the Dalek microwave.
Yeah.
In case of invasion.
Mm.
There's a whole instruction manual that's like 10 times the size of the normal one. It tells you how to wire it, take it to pieces and wire it.
Imagine opening a manual with a Dalek inside it. Yeah.
As long as it's there's a YouTube video to accompany it that's voiced by Dalek Khan.
Yeah,
that'd be
doing
amazing.
that mad laugh.
Yeah.
Actually, I did like the Dalek laugh in this. You know, it's like it didn't know how to laugh, didn't it? I thought that was quite good, actually.
Yeah.
The Dalek laugh.
Yeah, it's cool. Carry on. This is the Whoniverse.
Hello, I'm the Whoniverse, and today I'm going to be reviewing Resolution. Resolution is a great episode. Not only just an episode, but a great finale kind of episode. It definitely felt like more of a finale than the Battle of Ranskor Av Kalos, and it was just so good. I love the new mythos with the Renaissance Dalek. I don't know how you actually say it, the Recon Dalek. It looked... I personally think it looked brilliant. I love the design. It's not a permanent one, just in case anybody thought that for some reason. The characters are great. The acting is brilliant on Jodie's part and most of the side characters. Ryan's dad stuff kind of was boring whenever it was on screen, and I still think he should have sacrificed himself at the end, but it is what it is. But yeah, it was just a great episode. And for people who didn't like it, I just don't understand how they couldn't like this one, because it's similar to the older ones. But anyway, I'd give it a 4 out of 6 stars, which is great in my rating scale. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
4 out of 6.
Yeah, 4 out of 6.
I get what you're saying about this definitely felt more like, to those of us that haven't really enjoyed Series 11, because it's been so different. Mm-hmm. It's definitely felt like it was going a bit back to, what we've had previously. It did in a good way. It was sort of moving forward, but trying something different. But so I know what you mean.
Yeah, no, I agree. Lastly, this is George Puddy.
Resolution was an episode I was fairly excited for beforehand, but afterwards left me very angry. I'd never genuinely been angry at a Doctor Who episode before, not even Hellbent. This is mainly down to Chibnall's writing. Again, it was poor, and this time it was a classic villain that was hurt. Not necessarily the Dalek itself, as it did kill people, but I think what makes the Daleks threatening is not necessarily that it kills people, but the relationship between the Doctor and Dalek, and that was all chucked out the window in this episode. Think back to Dalek when Christopher Eccleston is genuinely scared of the Dalek, banging on the door, "Let me out!" And that's just it locked in a room, weaponless. This time, Jodie Whittaker doesn't show any sense of fear or history in her performance. She played it more serious with Tim Shaw than this, and that really let it down. It was Chibnall's writing, but it has to be Jodie Whittaker's performance for me as well. I've defended her before, but this time it really hurt. Also, her just letting a Dalek into the TARDIS, really? Overall, it would have to be a 1 out of 10 for me. I thought the series was pretty meh, but now going into Series 12, I can't say I'm very excited. See you guys next week.
George,
a 1.
Not happy.
A 1, and that's just for the microwave. No, I can kind of see where George is coming from in the terms of the threat, because she did kind of she's a bit blasé, Jodie's Doctor, but I guess that's just the way she is. But I get where you're coming from a little bit there. When comparing it to Chris, I'm thinking of that scene now, how powerful it is when Chris is absolutely terrified.
Well, it's dangerous, mate, to start comparing. Well,
no.
Do you know what I mean, though? That scene, though, crikey, when he even just lays eyes on it, he's terrified. Let me out, let me out.
Yeah.
Compare it to let's not go down that road.
I mean, because, she stopped his gunfire with a sonic as well, didn't she? Which I didn't mention, but also felt a little bit like,
Come on, we're done.
No, move on. Move on.
Thank you very much, guys, for sending in your audio clips. I'm going to breeze through a few of these that you lovely people sent through over on Twitter and Facebook. Craig EM said, yet another basic, boring, by-the-book story, as if using a checklist. Chibnallisms, such as anticlimactic payoffs, ropey dialogue, and lack of substance behind the 13 run rife, even at episode 11. Satisfying Dalek brutality overshadowed by jarring kitchen sink family nonsense. A 5.
A 5.
Suleiman says, thought it was brilliant. Never really enjoyed Series 11 this year. Thought this was the icing. Oh, sorry. I've really enjoyed Series 11 this year. I thought this was the icing on the cake. The Dalek was threatening and I love Jodie. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Yes.
Okay.
Xenochew. Brilliant story. That really makes the Daleks an actual threat again after so long of them being not very menacing at all. The first time since RTD that a Dalek genuinely made me think this is bad news. Gives it a 10 out of 10.
Okay.
Dave Wilson, like most of the season, should have been better. Promised so much and failed to deliver. Maybe I expected too much. Sad face.
Oh
dear. Jordan Shortman, one of our writers, says, loved it. The Dalek looked excellent and for a one-off design. Jodie was fantastic, as were the rest of the cast, both main and guest. It was a fun run around with a Dalek doing what they do best, exterminating. Roll on 2020.
Yeah.
Chloe Rebecca Anderson, despite thinking some of the dialogue between Ryan and his dad could have been shortened, it was an enjoyable watch. The Dalek design was a nice difference, but was excited to see the fleet that never arrived. Overall, a good watch. Who else did we have on here? Doctor Who, Time and Space says, an improvement on previous episodes, but the dialogue is still apparent for the most part. Finally, a decent foe. There was a decent level of threat and excitement. The storylines with Ryan's dad stood in the way of what was otherwise a decent story. 6 out of 10. Jake misses Benny and Alice says, he's done it. He's actually done it. Chibbers made the Daleks threatening again. Goes on to give it an 8. John Scott gives it a 7. Captain Blighty, I watched every episode hoping that Jodie would shine, get into the role and take command, and there'd be a really good story with a twist and a strong ending. Instead, it was a huge letdown. With Resolution being one of the worst, week after week of old scrunchy face. Yawn. Oh, dear.
Oh, dear.
Spencer Shively says, best holiday special in years. Best episode of Doctor Who Chibnall has ever written. Better than the majority of Series 11. Should have been the finale. Real Doctor intensity and stakes. Minimal use of the Sonic. Great character development for Ryan. 9 Scout Daleks out of 10.
Cool.
Sarah Louise Baggett gives it an 8 out of 10. Blair Donnelly gives it an 8. Rotide says, not able to get an audio review in. Apologies, but however, Resolution was exactly what I was looking for. It achieved a lot Series 11 failed to do. Jodie was amazing in this. Doctor really shined. The Dalek itself was bloody amazing. Glad to see they are a threat again.
Yeah, it did have threat, that's for sure.
Yeah. Over on Facebook, rattle through a few of these. Kevin Mullins says, an utter masterpiece.
Oh.
Possibly the most manipulative and cunning a Dalek has been since 2005. It's been said that Doctor only becomes the Doctor when faced with the Daleks, and this is absolutely true here. Jodie was very, very good indeed, as was Bradley Walsh, Tosin Cole, and poor Mandip Girl, who was once more wasted and looked thoroughly bored. I love this story and give it 129,625,294 rels out of that same number. But he doesn't know what a rel is either.
I love a rel.
Thomas Richard, a bit worried coming to this, but at the end of all, loved it. 8 out of 10. Dale Smith, I thought this should have been the finale to Series 11, 10 out of 10. Lewis Palmer, final true episode of Series 11. Really great stuff from all involved. A brilliant bit of entertainment. Joseph Howarth, 9 out of 10. Kiss Vince, Scoze Kiss Vince, 9 out of 10. Mars McKenzie, 8.5. Aaron Lamb, an 8. Jessica Leffelman, absolutely loved it. A Chibnall episode I enjoyed. Jodie was finally the Doctor. Goes on to give it a 10. Lawrence Baxter, Chibnall's best episode. Jeff Waddle, Chibnall's best episode so far.
Ooh.
And the best Dalek episode since, Dalek. Gave it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Daniel Hickey was okay. Average from Chibs again. Dalek was dealt with way too easy and it became a real threat. Gives it a 5 out of 10. And lastly, Lou Gallagher gave it a 7.5.
Mostly high then.
Mostly high, I would say.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Which is good. Yeah. Definitely the best out of we've seen from Series 11.
Yeah. I just hope this isn't the best Chibnall's got in him, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Hope he isn't already spent.
Yeah. If he thinks this is the peak, this is the best, then we'll see.
We shall see.
Next week, we're back to our normal schedule.
Oh, yes.
What we got next week, buddy?
So Sarah Jane, next week, we're back to Sarah Jane with the story The Day of the Clown, which I believe, and I'm only going by memory, I believe Bradley Walsh is in that.
I think so, yeah.
I've never seen the story, but I just remember the Next Time trailer and me and you going, oh, getting it looked quite good. So, yeah, looking forward to that. Never seen it before. So The Day of the Clown.
Yeah. And for any of our new listeners, if this is your first episode, the way when there's no new Doctor Who on the TV, the way that we do our reviews each week is we alternate between different shows, essentially. So in the middle of last year, we started doing Sarah Jane and Torchwood. So what we do now is we mix it up. So week 1, if you like, or next week will be Sarah Jane. The week after that will be a classic Doctor Who story. The week after that will be a Torchwood story. And the week after that will be a modern Doctor Who story. So we alternate every 4 weeks between those 4. So next week, The Day of the Clown. Sarah Jane. So get that watch because we'll be asking for your thoughts on that one. And I think we're going to do that, buddy, for 215.
Okay.
Thank you so much for sticking with us and listening back to 215 with us. It's been great to kick off the new year back on the old podcast. On the old podcast. Yeah, reasonable scores. Pretty good scores for Resolution. Not too bad at all. I think the majority of people fairly into it, I would say.
It does feel weird. We haven't got another series, though. It's strange, isn't it?
It does
we haven't got a series this year. It does feel odd.
Yeah, we've got a whole, over a year, haven't we? I don't know when in 2020 it's going to come back.
Just getting going, it feels like, and then, Anyway, we shall see.
Anyways, in the meantime, head over to the website, www.bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. You can listen to all of the previous episodes on there, plus you can link off to all of the social networks that we're on, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Give us a like and a follow on there, because we chat plenty of Doctor Who during the week.
Yes, we
do.
And
also subscribe to the show on whatever podcast network you like, the big one being iTunes. And if you're an iTunes listener, you could spare a minute for a review and a rating. That would be awesome, because that really helps. Check out my co-host Adam's YouTube channel, The Geeks Handbag.
Yes.
Loads of really cool videos over there, unboxings, reviews, convention roundups, just the whole shebang.
Yeah. Loads of good stuff.
Adam's also on the social networks as well, so give him a like and a follow there, the same name, The Geeks Handbag. Until next week, for episode 216, my name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And remember, Allons-y!